Hi everyone, my name is Nalini and I'm so excited to talk to you today about a diversity gap that many of us don't actively think about. And that's the exceptionally qualified STEM women who are also caregivers. Now, there are many kinds of caregivers, and frankly, tech does a poor job of supporting any of them. But for this talk, I will focus on tech women who are also moms. Let me start by sharing my story. I have a master's in telecommunications from the University of Maryland. I spent 10 years building wireless infrastructure software before stepping away to raise a family. After 6 years of caregiving and community work at two nonprofits, I was drawn to AI, especially the challenges of building AI products ethically. At Intuit, I now work with data scientists and ML engineers to solve some of these challenges and build AI-based services. So with that introduction, let's jump right in and let's do a reality check. In 2018, women earned 31% of all computer science and math degrees in the US. Yet in 2019, only 22% of all computer science and math jobs went to women. This includes all software engineering, software support, data science, and statistics roles. 43% of women in professional roles end up leaving their careers, typically at a stage when family life becomes increasingly complex. C-suite women leave at over 3 times the rate of their male counterparts. And nearly half of US female scientists leave full-time science roles after their first child. Now, there are many reasons to why women leave the workforce, but let's focus on the number one. Of the 43% that leave, only 40% come back to full-time roles. And of all the women that work full-time, a whopping 52% say that they're burning out. We have a caregiving crisis. Working women are twice as likely as their male counterparts to run the household, 3 times more likely to manage their children's schedules, and 8 times more likely to require time off to care for a sick child. Women are also 3 times more likely to volunteer for school or community activities. Well, next time we have a panel, you'll know why. The numbers matter little unless put in the context of the people it represents. So let me share some experiences of women, mothers like me, who are building second careers in AI. The Trust Radius Women in Tech survey reported 71% of women have experienced tech bro culture at work. This is not surprising to any of us. For us, it plays out from resume screening, where the gaps in our resume are held against us, to interviews, where we are often expected to fit unclear job requirements and dismissed for not having done the exact same thing earlier, to finally a struggle to belong once we land a job. The tech culture of long hours and late hours further penalizes working mothers. COVID-19 has, of course, made all of this much worse. So why is this important and relevant to AI ethics? Diversity of gaps of any kind hurt AI outcomes, as we've seen today. Gender bias issues are also well known in AI, and some of our previous speakers have spoken to this. Often this is attributed to historical bias in the data, but having fewer women on the team also leads to unfair bias in AI outcomes. Team composition typically drives the assumptions they will make about what data is relevant, what features to engineer, and how to derive outcomes. For example, assuming that a woman who files joint returns is unemployed and using employment status as a feature, or assuming that in families, the husband is always the primary card holder, can lead to a woman being wrongly assigned a lower credit limit. Now, I'm not suggesting that that is the exact cause of the Apple Card issue, but some of the possible causes. So to summarize, lack of women in AI is not a pipeline issue. Lack of women in tech is not a pipeline issue. There's a rich, untapped pool of women who can build great second careers in AI, if only the companies and communities support them. So what can companies do to fix this? A lot of companies are already starting to offer what's called returnships, focused on women who left their careers for caregiving, which is great. And I would urge more and more companies to take that route. I'm also proud to say that I'm an Intuit returnee. But I'd also urge companies to focus on building end-to-end pathways, from rehiring to retaining and growing women's careers. A big part of retaining is being intentional about inclusion. This requires adjustments and accommodations. Things like having all team socials late in the evening, or not aligning collaboration hours, etc., make it harder for women to grow and succeed. Andrew Ng recently tweeted that companies should normalize having kids in work environments. I just wish we didn't have to wait for a pandemic to normalize something like this. But I do want to end on a positive note. As more and more companies look to expand their AI footprint, I believe there is a greater opportunity for women to shift domains and re-enter the workforce. Many of us are doing it. And while challenges exist, there's also a huge community ready to help. I have personally tremendously benefited from amazing mentors, from communities like Fast.ai and the Women in AI Ethics. So to all the women like me, I'd like to say today, AI needs you and we are here to help. Thank you.